I'm Emily. Jake, 2 years older than me, is a science guy. He's living his childhood dream of a research job and seems fulfilled even though he's busy all day. Our son Mike is 3 years old. Just like Jake, he loves observing and experimenting. Right now, he's obsessed with the goldfish he caught at the fall festival. Our daughter Sarah is 1 year old. She loves to eat, and her chubby white cheeks are just adorable. She's the comfort and joy of our household. Overall, life is pretty good for our ordinary family. Except for one thing. Emily, what's for dinner tonight? Mother-in-law. Just as I was trying to calm down my crying daughter and finish up dinner, the doorbell rang. Without any hesitation, my MIL walks into our home as she often does. It might not be the same day every week, but she shows up around this time frequently enough that Mike hardly even looks away from the TV. My goodness, fried food again? That's not good, so oily. You need to take better care of Jake's stomach when he comes home tired from work. It's not good for the grandkids either. But Mike really likes it. Well, that's because you only feed him junk. Look, I've made a creamy vegetable stew and minestrone for you. It's important for the kids to get used to Western food from an early age. Sigh. My mother-in-law starts setting the table with the large containers of creamy stew and minestrone she brought. It's a lot, enough to last for at least 3 days, and I feel a little down just looking at the stew, which is mostly just carrots and cabbage. Come on, stop daydreaming. I'll take the food you made home with me, so go ahead and pack it up. It's not tasty, but we can't waste food. This is routine. Last time she visited unexpectedly, she replaced my clam chowder with her own fried chicken. Holding the still warm container, she left without even looking at her grandchildren. Once the front door closed, my son turned to me softly. Grandma took my fried chicken again. My heart aches seeing my son's sad face. Don't worry, there's a little bit of meat left. Just wait a moment. Yay! As I heat up the oil again, I feel relieved seeing my son's joyful reaction to my words. However, my inner dissatisfaction remains. My mother-in-law has been overly intrusive since my marriage, but it's gotten worse over the past year. Every week, she shows up unannounced during dinner prep time. Initially, she would just criticize my cooking and parenting, then leave her cream stew on the counter. But for the past 6 months, she started taking my food home with her, effectively ruining our meal. I can't imagine my mother-in-law, who lives alone since my father-in-law passed away, eating all 3 servings. She's probably throwing it away. As I prepare baby food and distract the kids, I manage to cook. It's tough, but seeing my family's happy faces keeps me going. Yet, my fried chicken, braised pork, mapo tofu, and hamburgers, all of it gets taken away. I grew up in a family that ran a restaurant, and my dad taught me how to cook. So, I'm confident in my culinary skills. And yes, I think my food tastes better than mother-in-law's overly sweet cream stew. It irks me to have my skills negated by her. But with Mike in the picture, I've been struggling to stand up to my mother-in-law, his grandma. More cream stew? Jake, who comes home after the kids have gone to sleep, makes a face when he sees dinner. Since only Mike's share of fried chicken is left, I served Jake a large platter of the cream stew. What can I do? It's what mother-in-law brings over. If you don't like it, you tell her. Yeah, I guess. Jake pokes at the stew, as non-committal as ever. She shows up without considering Sarah's nap time, and even takes away Mike's favorite foods right in front of him. Well, she's lonely since Dad died. That was 2 years ago. How much longer do I have to put up with this? Yeah, I guess. Ugh. Jake is usually reliable, but he avoids confrontation when mother-in-law is involved. Another pointless conversation goes by, and I let out a deep sigh. The only silver lining is that she hasn't suggested moving in. One day, tired of the same old routine, mother-in-law says something different when she drops by during dinner as usual. "Emily, this Christmas everyone's gathering at our place." "What?" "After your father passed away last year, we couldn't really do anything, right? We've been relying on relatives from Dad's side since the funeral. So, I'm inviting them to our home as a way of saying thank you." Sounds exhausting. Responding with a lack of enthusiasm to my mother-in-law's arrogant tone. I wonder how she plans to host people suddenly when we've always gathered at her brother-in-law's or her own childhood home for Christmas and family reunions. She frowns at me, looking like she's dealing with someone of lesser intelligence. "You're not just a bystander here. You'll be helping, too." "What?" "Come over on the 24th and help clean up." Stunned by the audacious decision, I try to quickly object. But Sarah is so young. "Just use a baby carrier or something. That's how women used to do it back in the day." Maybe, but you're also in charge of the full-course Christmas meal. Don't you dare repackage store-bought food or cook anything that tastes bad. I don't want to be embarrassed." "What? You can't be serious." "I'm thinking of inviting your dad's relatives on one day, and my sister's family and her daughter on another. It'll be a busy holiday." Although she's complaining, I can sense a happy aura coming from her. "Hold on, the one who's going to be busy is me, not you. As the daughter-in-law of this family's eldest son, do your duty properly, okay?" Having had her say, my satisfied mother-in-law leaves the meatloaf and heads out, leaving me stunned and my surprised son behind. She doesn't forget to pack the shrimp gratin that just needs to be baked, though. That night, when I tell Jake about it, he's as bewildered as I am. "What? She's planning a party from Christmas, even inviting Dad's side of the family when he's not here?" "Yes, that's the plan." "Well, maybe Mom's lonely." I finally lose my temper at Jake's predictable response. "Think about what it's like for me, always being pushed around." Seeing Jake's face turn to an unmistakable uh-oh, he goes silent. But even he realizes that this time, it's too much, and lets out a resigned sigh. "All right. I'll handle the cleaning and entertaining the relatives." "Really?" I'm glad to hear Jake's proposal. It gives me some direction. But can you still cook the full-course Christmas meal? Just for this year, let's keep Mom's reputation intact. Plus, everyone in the family loves your cooking." As he pleads, Jake is staring at the meatloaf mother-in-law left for us. I mean, it's hard to say no after making a concession. "Fine, just for this year." "Thanks." "Man, I can't wait for Emily's Christmas feast." Geez, you're in high spirits, aren't you? Being praised isn't so bad, and I don't mind cooking for people. So, I brace myself that it's just for this time and agree to prepare a full-course Christmas meal. When I tell my mother-in-law that Jake will stay over to help with cleaning, she makes a displeased face and says, "How could you let the man of the house do such things?" But she seemed reasonably satisfied seeing Jake bustle around at his parents' home for my sake. And then comes Christmas lunchtime. "Emily, is the corn soup ready?" "I'm preparing the croutons now." I scurry around the kitchen, getting the carpaccio and corn soup ready. "You're so inefficient." "I'll bring the food myself." "I'm sorry." If you're going to complain, try preparing a meal for 20 people. It's really, truly exhausting. Finally, the serving is done, and I sit down at the party. Jake seems to have put our daughter down for a nap in another room. Preparing a full-course Christmas meal for 20 people was hard, but it feels good to see everyone enjoying my cooking. However, that good feeling lasts only a moment. This quiche looks so beautiful, it's like something you'd buy. Thank you. Geez, you're good at flattery. This carrot slaw is perfectly balanced with the vinegar. The orange scent really freshens up your mouth. That's because Christmas meals tend to be rich, so I made it a bit more acidic. Something's off. Every time someone tries to compliment my Christmas cooking, mother-in-law interrupts. Something is not right. And the source of this awkwardness is revealed by Sophia, Phil's sister. Emily's mother-in-law is such a great cook, isn't she? Excuse me? Confused, I let out a dumbfounded sound. Unperturbed, chatterbox Sophia continues her story. Did Olivia make this entire Christmas feast? That's amazing. Huh? I haven't cooked a full-course Christmas meal in ages. I was going to leave it to my daughter-in-law, but she's absolutely terrible in the kitchen. And she never comes by, even when I offer to teach her. What? The mother-in-law talks about struggles she never even faced as if they're a given, leaving me puzzled. Emily's mother-in-law is such a great cook, isn't she? Ha 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 ha. Daniel, a relative hanging around Sophia, laughs. It feels like he's mocking me. You know, Olivia, that pork belly stew you made last time was delicious. It's amazing you can cook both Western and Japanese dishes. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. The mother-in-law smiles and feigns humility, but that pork belly stew was clearly my creation. As I stand there astonished, she mouths, "Go along with it." Apparently, she's been claiming all my dishes, including the Christmas feast, as her own and sharing them with the family. And now she wants me to be complicit in her lie? No way. Especially after she's been criticizing my cooking all this time. Though I want to speak out, I'm overwhelmed by the crowd and find myself speechless. My savior turns out to be my son. Mom, this omelet is really tasty. It looks different than usual, but your omelets are always good. My young son's high-pitched voice echoes through the room, and the noisy adults fall silent. Oh, Mike. This is actually a quiche your grandmother made. Sophia tries to cover for my son, probably out of kindness. But my son responds, astonished. Huh? But it's tasty. What? It's tasty, so it's got to be Mom's omelet. Grandma's omelet is super sweet and gritty. It doesn't taste good. My son passionately insists, gesticulating wildly, leaving the adults exchanging puzzled glances. Of course, the mother-in-law panics. Emily! Don't teach the child to lie! Excuse me? Who's the one lying here? Mom, am I a liar? Mike looks up at me, his face full of insecurity. That's when I felt my blood boil. I was foolish. I don't care what people think of my mother-in-law or Jake. I've put up with her because she's Jake's mom and Mike's grandmother. But a grandmother who turns her grandson into a liar just to save face is nothing but evil. If she's gonna make my child a liar, I'll become a demon if I have to. I took a deep breath and straightened my back. Mike is not a liar. The one lying here is you, Grandma. Huh? She must have never expected me to stand up to her. My mother-in-law looked shocked. I stood up and pointed at the table dramatically. I made this entire Christmas feast, including the corn soup. Everything from start to finish. Wah! Naturally, the room erupted. My flustered mother-in-law began to panic and yell. Wait, Emily! You've been lying this whole time! Have you lost your mind? I'm not lying. Sophia, you said you got the pork belly stew from Grandma, right? Sophia, now pulled into this, looked up at me, surprised. Yes. It was delicious. I made that too. Huh? You're terrible. Stealing credit for Jake's mom's cooking and trying to set her up. You're the worst daughter-in-law. Then, can you tell me the recipe for the pork belly stew, mother-in-law? What? Can you? Well. She hesitated. Then, as if struck by inspiration, she shouted. It's a secret! It's a secret family recipe, so I can't tell you in public. You don't have to give details or measurements. Just the basics. Even the relatives who were disgusted by our petty fight started to see who was in the right. Emily, that's enough. My husband Jake had apparently finished putting our daughter to sleep. He had silently appeared near the door and restrained me with a stern voice and face. My mother-in-law clung to Jake as if he was her ally, looking like a tragic heroine. Jake, what's up with your daughter-in-law? She's calling me a liar. That's awful. Mom, you're the awful one here. What? Mother-in-law's mouth drops open. This entire Christmas feast, Emily made it all day while taking care of the kids. Trying to take credit for it is pretty low. Jake! Sophia, the only thing Mom made is that massive bowl of creamy stew over there. Have you tried it? Huh? Yeah. Sophia, once again caught in the middle, looks at the pointed-out creamy stew, visibly shaken. Is she recalling how incredibly sweet that stew was? Yeah, it was insanely sweet, wasn't it? Mom thinks if it's sweet, it's tasty. She's always been so cautious about salt and oil but uses sugar with no limits. So all her dishes taste like a block of sugar. Is that so? The pork belly stew was probably made by my daughter-in-law too. If you got any other dishes from Mom recently, they were likely made by Emily. Really? Even that meatloaf? That was me. And the mapo tofu and shrimp gratin? That was me. Everyone in the family is disillusioned with Mil because of her own son's revelation. Isn't that right, Mom? Mother-in-law, exposed for all her lies, is panicking. Seems like she's given up on lying and is now trying to appeal to Jake's emotions. Why? Why are you siding with your DIL? I'm your mom. Everyone in the family is disillusioned with mother-in-law because of her own son's revelation. Jake, who firmly dismisses his begging mother, starts to clean up the Christmas feast. Then he apologizes to the relatives. I'm sorry for the disturbance this Christmas. Emily, Mike, let's go. Jake! As Jake takes Mike's hand and stands up, Mike glances at mother-in-law. Grandma, where's your I'm sorry? Huh? When you lie, you say I'm sorry. Then you get forgiven, right? Isn't that right, Mom? I get it. You have to be forgiving when it comes to raising kids. But a simple sorry isn't going to cut it. Luckily, I didn't have to worry for even a second. Mother-in-law clenched her lips so tightly they looked like they'd bleed, clearly having no intention of apologizing. Seeing her, Jake sighed as if he'd had enough. Grandma can't even say I'm sorry, and she's supposed to be an adult. How sad. Let's go home and have Mom's delicious Christmas feast. Okay. Ugh, hi. We left behind a growling Mil and confused relatives, carrying our sleeping daughter and the Christmas feast as we left Mike's house. We went straight to my parents' place and served the Christmas feast. Everyone was delighted and ate with joy. This is what I had been striving for, so my heart was full. Jake, of course, apologized profusely and promised never to let us meet mother-in-law again. Apparently, the atmosphere at Mike's house remained awkward. His relatives dispersed, leaving only a soulless mother-in-law and some bland food. The next day, mother-in-law's sister and her husband, as well as Jake's sister, visited as promised. Seeing the bland food, they chuckled and said, "Figures." Apparently, mother-in-law's lack of cooking skills was a well-known fact among her relatives. "So you brag about hosting a Christmas feast?" I wondered what magic trick you'd pull. Probably just jealous of Emily, who's good at cooking and praised by Jake and Mike. "Sorry for the inconvenience," they said. After hearing the details from Jake, my sister-in-law thanked me for my efforts. Sophia also called to apologize. "I'm sorry for jumping to conclusions." It turns out Sophia also enjoys cooking, and we bonded over a recipe for braised pork belly. The misunderstanding with Jake was cleared up, and I found new friends who share my cooking hobby. I felt refreshed, enjoying a carefree Christmas. Of course, mother-in-law wasn't going to back down that easily. But I'm well prepared. As I'm making cornbread, my phone rings. It's mother-in-law.
"Excuse me, where are you? It's dinner time. Do your duty as a wife."
"Are you making the same mistake and coming over again?" She's furious on the other end of the line.
"How dare you? I came here because you didn't apologize. Come home and clear the misunderstanding with our relatives, then I'll forgive you for embarrassing me."
"No, thanks."
"What? You'll be the one left out by the family."
"That won't be a problem."
"What?"
To begin with, the one who put on airs and got shunned by the relatives was mother-in-law. I've even made plans to cook with Sophia next time.
"What?"
Mother-in-law probably never imagined that I'd become close to Fael's side of the family. In other words, I'm well aware that mother-in-law has distanced herself from Fael's relatives. So, what now? Still got any moves left? I add another blow to the stunned mother-in-law. Also, I'm not returning to that house.
"What?"
Yes, the kids and I have been staying at my parents' house since Christmas. We're planning to find a new place to live now that the holidays are over. Initially, living near Mike's family was mother-in-law's strong insistence, but Jake's workplace is actually closer to my parents' house.
"Didn't Jake tell you to stay away from daughter-in-law?"
But since mother-in-law can't listen better than a child, we've decided to physically distance ourselves. Right now, Jake is the only one living there. And he'll leave once he's ready.
"What? Where are you?"
Who knows?
"Wait! You think you can get away with not cherishing Jake's mom?"
Yes, because Jake and Isael have forgiven me. It's okay.
"Wait, what?"
Thank you for everything so far, mother-in-law. I'm so happy I'll never have to see you again. Goodbye.
Wait a minute.
With a bit of a laugh, I hang up on mother-in-law who's screaming like a villain in a superhero show. Then I block her number to make sure I never have to hear her voice again. 2 years later. Mom, what's for dinner today? Hamburgers.
Yay! I love Mom's burgers the most in the world.
Sarah loves them too. Sarah loves them too. Dad loves them the most in the universe.
Dad, that's not fair.
My family happily waits for my cooking in the living room, playing around. As I fry the burgers in the kitchen, my heart warms up again today, watching them eagerly await my cooking, smiles on their faces. Your luggage was in the way, so I threw it out. Sure enough, it was Madison's doing. All of my things, my clothes, cosmetics, anything that belonged to me were gone. Luckily, I had my computer with me when I went out, so it was safe, but having this happen really gets on my nerves. My husband, Charles, along with Madison, are both giving me these annoying smiles. It was Madison's idea, and Charles helped her with it. What's with the blank stare? If there's something you really need, why don't you go pick it up?
Or better yet, leave the house. You're in the way, Auntie.
Being a stepchild, I let her do as she pleased without saying anything, following Charles's educational policies without complaint. But this attitude from the start, being ignored for a year, and now having all my belongings thrown away. No one would stay calm after being treated like this. They have no idea what happens when I get angry. What pitiful people. Divorce is certain, and I'm not sure if Madison will be able to go to college. Charles has many hobbies, so he'll probably be stressed out not being able to do them. After all, they'll lose their home. It'll be interesting to see what they'll do.
So, I'm the nuisance here. Fine, I hope you both get what's coming to you. And don't come crying back to me. Whether I cry or get angry, it has nothing to do with me anymore. You'll regret it.
My name is Emma. I'm 38 years old and own a house. I hate being asked too much about my job, so I just say I live in a remodeled family home. I used to invest, but ever since switching to high-risk, high-return stocks, my assets have been steadily increasing. My dad was into investing in stocks, and I've been learning about them since I could remember, so although I'm self-taught, I think it suits me. Meeting Charles happened when he joined the gym I've been going to for years. We wore the same brand of sportswear, so he struck up a conversation with me. We started talking more with each meeting, gradually growing closer and going out together more. Charles is a man of many hobbies, like the gym, golf, cars, fishing, etc., and being with him was never boring. When he asked me out, this was our conversation.
From the moment I met you, Emma, I couldn't stop thinking about you. I want you to be with me, considering marriage.
Yes, I'd love to. I felt the same way, so I'm happy.
But there's something I have to tell you.
What is it? I'm divorced. My ex-wife didn't understand my hobbies and was always negative about them. That was the cause of our divorce, and I have a daughter from that marriage who I've taken custody of and is now living in my family home. I'm sorry. I was worried you wouldn't want to be with me if I told you this. Would you still accept me? If I'm going to be part of your daughter's life, we should get along, right?
Emma, you mean?
I don't mind at all. No matter what happens, my feelings for you won't change. After that, we started dating. At that time, Charles's daughter, Madison, was in her 6th year of elementary school and seemed like a cute, friendly girl. She always greeted me with a bright smile and seemed happy to see me.
It's Emma. I'm so happy to see you today. Madison, do you like going shopping for clothes with Emma?
Madison is really cute. It makes me want to buy her something.
You two seem to be having fun. Let me join in.
Dad's getting jealous.
Yes, Charles is a jealous type, isn't he?
I thought Madison was fond of me. I bought her clothes that suited her and brought cakes as gifts, which she always seemed to enjoy. Then one day, during dinner, Madison muttered,
"It would be more fun if Emma was with us every day."
This led to Charles proposing to me. It was about 2 years after we started dating. We got married when Madison was about to enter her 3rd year of middle school, and since I lived alone in a house, they both moved in with me. At that time, I hadn't told Charles exactly how I make my living, just that I was a home worker. I once told someone I dated how I earned my money in detail. Then, after teaching him for a while, he started to cling to me, and it was hard to break up. I had meant to talk about it after we got married, but completely forgot as time passed. A little over a year since we started living together, Madison was nearing the end of her 1st year of high school. That's when things started to change. Madison and Charles's attitudes began to worsen noticeably. Charles's take-home pay is about $2,700, and since we own our home, we don't need to pay rent, so he was contributing about $1,000 for living expenses. But now, he only puts in $200 and spends the rest with Madison, and when that's not enough, they both come begging to me. They spend so much money on various hobbies, And one day I brought it up because the spending was getting out of control.
Charles, can we talk for a minute? Eh? Now? I have to play my game, so make it quick. It's about Madison and the money. Don't you think you're spending too much? First off, she's only in her first year of high school and you're buying her all these expensive designer items. How much allowance are you giving her? And Charles, it's fine that you have many hobbies, but aren't you spending too much on them? You're even spending on games. And maybe you could sell the things you don't use? How much was I giving Madison again? $1,000 or something? I want to buy her whatever she wants, and she says there are so many places she wants to go. She's my cute only daughter, so it's fine. And don't meddle in my hobbies. Even if you say anything, I won't listen. I work hard every day to feed you guys, right? What? I can't even have hobbies now. Wait, you're giving her $1,000? What are you thinking? Wait, you spend the $1,000 every month and then ask me for an allowance? Looks like I'll need to talk to Madison too. But let's put that aside for now. I'm not saying you can't have hobbies, but you're spending too much. Do you even realize how much you're contributing to the house? $200, Charles, $200. How are we supposed to live on that? Don't be too hard on Madison, okay? It's sad. Spending too much, it's my money, so it's fine. I'm the type who needs to have things to get into them. I'm giving you $200, so it should be fine. We don't have to spend much since it's your house. Plus, you work too, right? We've been living fine until now, so no complaints. The money I earn. Yes, that's true, but there's a limit, right? Just because we own the house doesn't mean there are no taxes. $200 isn't even enough for the utility bills. I work too, but the problem is you're spending too much. At my parents' house, $200 was enough. If it's not enough, you can just pay the difference. That's because your dad and mom are still working, right? And the size of the house is different. We need to pay more because of that. Are you subtly saying my parents' house is small? Enough. Go away. I won't listen anymore. You're such a hassle. No, I'm not speaking ill of your parents' house. You brought up the money, Charles. What do you mean by hassle?
While I was still talking, Charles put on his headphones and started playing his game, so I couldn't continue the conversation. There were things I needed to tell Madison too, but since I didn't know when she would be back from hanging out, I couldn't find the right time to talk to her. Just after Madison started her second year of high school, and because the weather was bad, the three of us were together at home for the first time in a while, so I suggested we have a family meeting. Convincing the two of them, who clearly didn't want to, that it would be over quickly, we decided to talk in the living room.
Madison, I heard from Charles that you're getting an allowance of $1,000. And yet, you still come asking me for money every month, right? What are you spending all that money on? And you're staying out too late playing around. Enough is enough. Shut up. Why are you butting in when you're not even my real mother? What I do with my money is my business. Leave me alone. I might not be your real mother, but as of now, I am your mother. I'm telling you this because if you continue spending money like this, you'll face problems in the future. I can't just ignore it. If you can't explain why you need so much money, I won't give you any from now on. Such a hassle. I just want a lot of things, and there are social obligations, you know? Can you not meddle? Right? High school students have their own social circles. Don't be too hard on her. I understand that there are social obligations and that it's the age to want brand name things, but it's about the amount of money. What's wrong with you? Everyone gets this much. It's normal. It's different from your time, Auntie. Back then, you didn't say anything but bought cakes and whatever I wanted, and now pretending to be mom is just laughable. Wait, Auntie? What kind of way is that to speak? Pretending to be mom? If I'm mom, it's natural to say no to bad things, right?
I got a bit irritated and retorted more strongly than I intended, which seemed to upset Madison, who then raised her voice in an angry tone.
Seriously, this is so annoying. I was just playing family with you because you used to buy me whatever I wanted, but why are you acting all high and mighty? Fine, I'll treat you like you don't exist and don't interfere with me. Just wait a minute. Emma, that's enough. You went too far. Apologize to Madison. I'm the one at fault? What do you mean by playing family? I thought you were an easy woman to deal with, but I guess I was wrong. Just apologize, will you?
I was baffled. To think that Charles saw me in such a way. From the next day, Madison truly started ignoring my existence. The message Charles sent me in the morning saying,
"Until you apologize to Madison, I'll also keep my interactions with you to a minimum."
As I continued to live like this, finding no meaning in staying together, I started to think about divorce. About a year had passed since Madison began ignoring me. Madison was in her 3rd year of high school. Charles and Madison continued to be reckless with money, and even though I stopped giving them money, they withdrew from the account I used for paying utilities and other bills. Despite thinking I was putting in nearly $2,000 thinking it would be extra, it all got withdrawn. Because of such incidents, I made up my mind and had a conversation with Charles.
Charles, do you have a moment? There's something I need to discuss. What, you finally decided to apologize to Madison? No. I've lost the sense of purpose in staying together. Please leave this house. Excuse me? What are you talking about? Did you hit your head? No, I'm serious. Yeah. Wait, I need to think about it. I have to tell Madison too. Please do it within 3 days. I'll take the day off work and go to the gym, so please pack your things and leave during that time.
3 days, huh? I couldn't tell if Charles was really listening, but I said what I wanted to say. Given their attitudes, they probably didn't want to live in the same house as me either. 3 days later, I spent some time at a cafe and then went to the gym for a longer session before returning home. Their shoes were still there, so they must still be in the house. That thought crossed my mind as I went to put away my gym shoes and was shocked to find my heels, pumps, and boots missing from where they should be. A bad feeling washed over me, and I rushed into the house and into my room, only to find it empty. I couldn't find a single piece of my jewelry. As I hurried to the living room, Madison and Charles were there, both sporting sarcastic smiles upon seeing me. And for the first time in a year, Madison spoke to me.
"Oh, you're back. Why the rush? What's the meaning of this?" "My belongings. Your stuff was in the way, so I threw it out."
Just as I thought, it was Madison's doing. All my clothes, cosmetics, anything that was mine had disappeared. Fortunately, I had my PC with me when I went out, so it was safe, but to have this happen was infuriating. Charles was laughing along with Madison. It was Madison's idea, and Charles helped her with it.
What's with the blank stare? If there's something you really need, why don't you go pick it up? Or better yet, leave the house. You're in the way, Auntie. So, I'm the nuisance here. Fine, I hope you both get what's coming to you. And don't come crying back to me. Whether I cry or get angry, it has nothing to do with me anymore. You'll regret it. Regret? As if we'd cling to an auntie like you. That's right. What Madison said is true. We're the ones who did you a favor by marrying you, remember? You should be grateful we married you, not the other way around.
Hearing this, I took what belongings I had and headed to a business hotel. Fortunately, there was a vacancy, and I was able to stay there that night. Watch me now. That's what I thought as I went about what I needed to do. And then, almost a month later, my phone rang loudly. It was Charles. Just as I thought, he would call. I couldn't help but laugh at how predictable it was. I waited a bit before answering Charles's call.
"Hey. Emma, where the heck are you? Enough is enough, come back home." "Oh, I'm just the nuisance auntie, remember? That's enough. If you've reflected, I'll let you live with us again. Live together? You must be joking."
How about you quickly sign the divorce papers I left in the mailbox?
Mailbox? Divorce papers? What are you talking about?
Haven't you checked the mailbox? Why don't you go look now?
Wait a minute.
He must have gone to check the mailbox because I could hear footsteps over the phone. I decided to wait. After a while, I could hear him running back. He must have been surprised by what was inside.
Emma, there are notices for electricity bills here.
What's this amount?
But the electricity is still on, and the hot water is working. Did they come even after I paid?
Charles, you don't know anything. Our house is all electric, so that's the amount we owe every month. And if there's a notice, the due date must be the end of this month, right? Good luck paying it. I haven't been living in that house, so I haven't paid. Plus, I've changed the withdrawal to your account. Electricity doesn't just stop if you don't pay immediately, you know? Didn't you know that?
What do you mean? Nothing's in my account for a withdrawal to happen. Please, pay it. I don't have any money until my next paycheck.
No way. Why should I pay for you too? Isn't your cell phone bill coming soon too?
Wait. You didn't change the cell phone account to mine, did you?
Yes. The bills for both you and Madison are being withdrawn from your account now.
Madison's too? How much is it going to be?
You wouldn't know, right? You spend on gaming, and Madison uses a payment method that comes with the cell phone bill for shopping. Including mine, it's about $2,500 a month.
What? That much? I shouldn't have spent that much on gaming.
When you weren't spending, Madison was buying accessories or something. You're spending at least $800 a month on gaming. Don't you realize? Mine was about $100, I think.
That's impossible. I can't pay that.
Charles, shall I tell you something?
What?
The monthly payments, including the allowance I used to give you both, amount to $8,000. Did you know? Taxes on the house, utilities, your car loan, cell phone bills, money for your hobbies, money given to Madison, and all that adds up. Did you know that?
What did you say? $8,000? That can't be right.
It is. That's why I got angry about you spending too much. It even exceeded $10,000 once, remember? When Madison bought 3 designer bags. Well, I could pay because it was me.
Wait, Madison was shopping that much? There's no way I can afford that. You mean you could pay because it was you? What does that mean?
You didn't know anything about my job. Anyway, I have some business to attend to at that house next time, so I'll tell you then.
You're coming back. That would be a relief. Please come back soon.
What are you talking about? I said next time, right? You'll have to figure out the payment yourself. After saying that, I hung up the phone. Feeling somewhat refreshed, I relaxed for a bit when the phone rang again. I answered it immediately. Now that the date was set, I thought I'd just leave a message. I informed Charles that I would be visiting in a week and muted his contact. When I arrived a week later, Charles had taken the day off and was waiting for me. I had thought as much, but I was hesitating about whether to mention the job directly. However, considering the what-ifs, I decided to say something about it before leaving. Been waiting. Who are those men? Multiple affairs? No, they came to look at the house.
What? Why?
I'll tell you everything on my way out. But first, what about the payments? And the divorce papers? I borrowed from my parents. I'm counting on you from next month. We're not getting divorced. No, we are getting divorced. I won't make the payments. Why not? Then why did you come back? To have you sign the divorce papers and to inspect the house. I told you, we're not getting divorced, so I won't sign. What's this inspection about? Forget the inspection for now. If you don't sign the divorce papers, Madison will be angry, you know? If you don't want Madison to hate you, you better sign. If it comes to it, I'll consult a lawyer and make you repay all the money I've spent so far.
All right.
Oh, scared of the lawyer, are you?
I just don't want Madison to hate me. If it means getting billed for what was spent,
I'll just go through with the divorce. But let's live together here.
What? No way.
The men I came with finished their inspection and came back. These men were actually demolition workers. I got him to sign the divorce papers, and I decided to tell him the truth before leaving.
Oh, you'll need to move out soon. Just so you're prepared. What do you mean? Because this is the house I built. What? I thought you remodeled your family home. Hey, I wasn't told this. No, that's not the case. I was planning to tell you more once we had built a stronger relationship. But you showed your true colors before that could happen. So, Emma, you must be earning a lot? You never mentioned a mortgage. The mortgage is already paid off. I'll tell you more about it later. Right now, I want to file the divorce papers. If you're earning that much, forget the divorce. Give that back.
As Charles tried to grab the divorce papers, the demolition workers easily restrained him. They then drove me to the courthouse in their truck. The divorce papers were successfully filed. It seemed he also had day off the next day. He kept calling. Curious about the job since I hadn't mentioned it, I decided to answer. To my surprise, it wasn't Charles but Madison on the phone, though it seemed Charles was there too, judging from the background noise.
What's the meaning of this? You told Dad to leave, right? Explain yourself to me. Good morning, Madison. Yes, that's right. Please leave, as that house is one I purchased. What? Dad said it was just your family home that was remodeled, so it would be easy to take over. Is that what he said? Thanks for letting me know. Madison, don't say unnecessary things. Emma, how could you afford all these payments? I was planning to tell you. I'm an investor, and I've been dealing with stocks these past few years. I know someone who did that and didn't make anything. If he couldn't, there's no way you could. But I can. My dad is also an investor, a successful one. He's living abroad now. So that's why the marriage introduction was remote. Exactly. There's an epidemic over there, and he can't return right now.
Did you also get money from your parents?
Only at the start. I borrowed but was able to pay it back quickly. Shall I tell you my total assets? Don't beat around the bush, just say it. It's probably something like $100,000, right? No, it's not. Don't tell me it's actually $100,000. Close, but it's $1 million. What? Too bad for you. Hey, that's a lie. Hey, you're lying. If you think it's a lie, then that's fine. We'll never have to deal with each other again. Wait, Emma, let's start over. Please, come back. I'm begging you. Then, goodbye.
After saying that, I hung up the phone, then proceeded to block his calls and messages. Feeling liberated, I started looking for a new place to live. A few days later, I received a call from an unknown number. It turned out to be Charles using his work cell phone. I didn't know the number.
Emma, wait, don't hang up. Just hear me out. What is it? The demolition crew is here saying we have to leave because the house is going to be torn down. Do something, please. Where are you now? We could come to you. No way. Don't come. Goodbye.
Wait. Mom, it's me, Madison. I realize I went too far. I'm sorry. I want to live together again.
Madison, I'm not your mom anymore. Don't come crawling back now.
I was wrong, so please remarry Dad. Without you, I can't go to college, and my cell phone will be cut off soon. I'll be good, I promise.
Poor thing. But, Madison, you were the one who rejected me trying to be your mom. Life isn't that easy, you know? Maybe you should give up on college for now and get a job? Or apply for a scholarship. I don't want a scholarship. My life as a college girl. No. Throwing a tantrum won't change anything now. Try your best with Charles. Goodbye.
After that call, I also blocked that number and went to a mobile shop to change my number. About 3 months later, I heard from a gym friend who was also close to Charles that, after everything, Charles had no time or money for his hobbies anymore. He was working day and night desperately trying to pay back the money he borrowed from his parents. I thought I saw Madison in the nightlife district during a night out with friends, but they're people I'm no longer associated with. It's a result of their own actions, I think. When I told my parents everything, they suggested I come live with them. I'm planning to leave the country soon, so I won't have any more dealings with those people. I'm looking forward to the new encounters that await me abroad.